Hi, it's Mark from Mark of the Cyberbeast, and today we're going to talk about the Optimus robot. Now, many of you realized in the last, day or two ago, there was a video midday that was released of the Optimus robot dancing actually rather gracefully. First appeared as though it was doing some ballet moves, and then started doing some more modern type dancing, right? And actually probably did a better job of dancing than me, okay? When that video dropped, Tesla stock literally went up, all green candles, about $10 in about 30, 45 minutes or so. It just went through there, and it kind of stayed and hovered around there. It dipped a little bit, but it came back up. But that video just lit up the stock trading board, okay? I didn't know that video dropped. I was just watching the market and the trades, and I started seeing it go up, and I'm like, wow, what the heck's going on with Tesla? There's gotta be news. And then later on in the day when I went to X, I saw the video and realized it just went viral, right? That is one good thing Elon has, is that he doesn't advertise, but he controls X, or the old Twitter. And I'm not saying he can mess with algorithms, but he makes it so he's got a lot of fans on there. And what happens? That video drops and all the Tesla fans share it. And next thing you know, it becomes a really hot commodity. It gets out the trading floors, and these guys are like, hey, look at this Tesla robot, oh my God. And we're gonna talk all the ins and outs about, is this thing a flop or is it gonna be a hit? We've got some information on that. So, it did boost the stock price. So if you're a stockholder in Tesla, you were very happy. Tesla gone up in the 340 realm, so to speak, in that area. It went a little higher, it went a little lower, but it's in that nice realm, 3.5, right, 340, 350. Now, let's first talk about what this hunk of metal is gonna cost. He hasn't given any specifics yet. Obviously, they can't till they're closer into production dates, which we'll talk about in a second. They said anywhere between $20,000 and $30,000. So let's just use round numbers, cut it in half, $25,000. Here is something that many people are not thinking about, is you're not gonna just buy this robot for $25,000 and you've got a robot. I'm guessing there's gonna be some kind of monthly fee associated with it. Think about FSD, $100, $200 a month. Basically, Tesla is going to try to see how much they can get from you, right? Just like with FSD, they started mentioning like 250, then they said 200. No one was really signing up. They dropped it to 100. They started getting more people. So expect laying out $25,000 for the robot, and you're going to pay a monthly fee to have access to the learning tools. Because what I'm guessing, and this is just my guesses, this robot is trained by watching you, okay? So it's gonna watch you, for instance, make an omelet, unload groceries from your vehicle, vacuum your floor, okay? Now some of these may already be built in and programmed in to Optimus, and that's what you're paying for. Some of the things, you may have someone who teaches it, for instance, how to dust. And that may get uploaded and shared now to the rest of the community, much like shareware, right? You just put it out there and people have access to it. So my guess, it's gonna be like a LimeWire, Napster type task sharing thing for Optimus, okay? That's my guess. If I know Elon and how he operates, and I kind of do, that's what I would do. Have recurring income, not just sell it one time. Now, they mentioned $20,000 to $30,000. The reason why they left the range, I think they're gonna do like they did to Juniper and the Cybertruck, is that they're gonna have a first launch, like the launch series with Juniper, the Foundation series with Cybertruck. You're gonna have, let's just call it the Adam and Eve series, right? The first Optimus line. And after that, there'll be the regular Optimus. And maybe for $30,000, you get, 5 years free of access, or maybe free access for eternity. But then once that Adam and Eve series sells out, it's going to be reduced down to $25,000 or $22,000, and then you just pay a monthly fee for it. When should you start saving up for this thing? Well, what it sounds like, from what our research shows, is that Tesla is making a couple hundred of these by year end for use within their factory, and also I guess probably maybe to a couple of their flagship stores just to kind of get the excitement going. But they said public availability will be in 2026, okay? So they're gonna start advertising for those positions in the next coming months. But they're making these things, and these are made predominantly by hand, okay? Now, I'm sure to some degree you've got robots making robots, but for now, if you've seen some of the videos, there are people kind of lined up assembling these robots. And it is pretty cool. Most of the parts, though, almost all the parts, they're all made in-house by Tesla. Okay, so you don't have to worry about tariffs from China. You don't have to worry about a supply chain issue, because this is all going to be in-house sourced and made by Tesla. It's going to take them a while to scale, but one thing Tesla has going for it, besides AI, is scalability. So let's take another step back and talk about robots and what makes this a hit or a flop, okay? For those of you who know, there's different types of robots out there. One of the big manufacturing robots is one called a KUKA, K-U-K-A. And if you watched that Tom Hanks movie, the Da Vinci Code, that was it. The robot that gathered the, I guess from the safe deposit box, like the box out and dropped it over, if you look, that was a KUKA robot. Normally, they're not celebrities and movie stars. They're used in factories, okay? But most robots are just like an articulating arm that does a task it's programmed to. Those are not cheap robots. In fact, if you look at many years ago, there was the Boston Dynamics did the dancing dogs. Remember those? And they had to program those dogs, okay, with computer controls. They didn't have it watch and learn. They had computer controls. It was way harder and way longer to get it to do that. And those things were millions of dollars. By using scale that Tesla does with their cars. Because as you know, the EV competitors that are out there, they can easily make one car as a prototype, but it's harder to make a couple 100,000 cars and do it in scale. So the robots, Tesla knows how to do this, and they're gonna make, they said, hundreds of thousands of robots the first couple of years, and then as things progress, they expect to make millions of robots, okay? Elon has a goal to have at least one robot for every person, I guess, on the planet. So if we start here in the US and we've got, I don't know, 300 million people, I guess, let's just say one per family, 50 million robots isn't exactly unrealistic. It's going to take some time, but I wonder if there's ever going to be any government credits for this, okay? Because as AI starts taking over, there may have to be some type of government support system for people, because many jobs will be displaced. So one of the things the government can do, rather than just give people money, is give people a robot so they have more free time, okay? Time is more valuable than money. Many of you know that. So if you have that time to do other things, vacation, spend time with family, etc., that's much better than giving me, $20,000 a year. $20,000 doesn't mean much to me. But you give me 30 hours a week, that's huge, right? So there's that possibility. Again, these time frames, they're probably going to change. They're based on Elon time, but 2026, we can start expecting these. And I know many of you who are early adopters of Tesla are anxious and biting at the bit, just chomping at the bit. They want to get this Optimus robot. I think every Tesla owner is looking at this as they want to be the first ones. And I wouldn't doubt if Tesla makes it so Tesla car owners, if you're an active Tesla car owner, that you have first dibs on Optimus, especially if you subscribe to FSD. Many companies want that recurring income coming in. It looks much better on the balance sheet, makes the company more profitable. So I believe they're going to try to leverage some of that, like they did with the Foundation series with Cybertruck, getting people who were stockholders at the inception of the Cybertruck back in, was it 2021? And then the delivery of it, if you still held on to, I think it was 3,000 shares, then you got first dibs on the Foundation series. That's why some of us got the trucks earlier in the year than others, okay? So, getting back to the Optimus, there's the possibility this can flop. Now, how is this possible? The Optimus has to learn, okay? People actually have to program it, right? They're not using code, but they're gonna have to show it what it wants to do. And there's going to be some limitations, okay? Now, one of the tasks that Tesla says it can do is bring groceries in. That's great. Suppose it's raining outside. Is the Optimus waterproof? Or will Optimus say, you know, it knows the weather report, it knows it's raining outside, I shouldn't be outside, it can't really get wet, so it doesn't go outside. Or maybe it is like IP66 or IP67 waterproof, and it can, okay? That would be great, because then I'll have Optimus wash my Cybertruck, okay? That would be awesome. But I digress. The Optimus, you are going to have to show it what to do first, and it's going to make mistakes. Just think about when you first trained your dog or trained a young child. They didn't pick things up in the first try. It took them a few times. So maybe making that omelet, cracking the eggs, it's not going to do maybe the best job, okay? Maybe some of the other tasks like vacuuming, all right? Maybe it doesn't know to go under the table. Or maybe it hits the wall, or it doesn't know that the plug has to go in a certain way because one side of your AC plugs has got a little nub on it, right, on your vacuum, and the other side doesn't, and it has to know to turn it around. It's not just going to push it and force it in. So how many mistakes is that Optimus robot going to make, and are people going to be patient enough to really accept it, okay? This is going to be new for a lot of people, all right? And you're going to have people going, oh my God. Think about when Tesla first came out with the EVs. Now, the Roadster came out, it was for the people making stupid money. It was a $250,000 car. Arnold Schwarzenegger bought one. I think Gavin Newsom bought one. Some other people in California bought them, kind of helped support them. But, you know, it had its quirks, okay, those early Roadsters. So you got to find out if these people are more tolerant to accepting those things. Now, if you get an average person, maybe their household income is $150,000 to $200,000, they buy a $25,000 Optimus robot, they're going to expect it to perform. If it doesn't, are they going to ask for a refund? Is there going to be a lemon law like cars? Like, what's the whole possibility? And then there's the concern about privacy. Because as you know, Tesla likes vision sensors, right? And how much of that vision is going back to Tesla? If I walk around naked in front of my Optimus, is that going back to Tesla? Should I cover up myself if I'm naked when Optimus is around? Will it walk into the bedroom when my wife and I are together, okay? I don't know. And there's going to be people who are going to be freaked out from this, all right? That's the possibility of a flop. Now, one of the things I see that I totally think is going to be amazing, I have a father who's 95 years old. He's going to be 96 in September. Thankfully, he doesn't drive anymore, but he does live alone, okay? And he has some home health people coming over a couple times a week, but it'd be nice if an AI-trained robot was there full-time to really help him out and be there for him. Not only to clean or maybe make some food for him, but even just, you know, to interact or just to be there, okay? It's a physical presence, human-like presence, okay? So I'm looking at that going, this is a great possibility for our elderly, right? And maybe in an assisted living facility, maybe an old folks home gets one, and it walks around and just, you know, does things or entertains the people with a dance or something, whatever. I'm not sure if it has voice yet, but if it does, that would be awesome to engage with the elderly who oftentimes get sheltered and feel alone. So there are definitely some great possibilities. In a hospital, this can be huge. I mean, look, would you rather hire someone who's going to complain, or would you rather get a robot to take people's bedpans from them, right? The robot doesn't care if it gets a little poop on his hands, right? You know, like a person would. So maybe there's jobs like that it'll really do well. We don't know yet, right? There's a lot of unknowns, and there's unknown unknowns, right? So I think this is a really, really cool concept and idea. It's just going to be interesting what happens and how it evolves, okay? There's the possibility it kind of does some of this. It's hip, it's not, it's hip, it's not, and then maybe finally it takes off. But that learning curve is definitely going to be something that is going to take patience from people, and you're going to have a lot of negative press. And that's where I think the stock price is going to be very volatile. The fact that it's selling a robot like this for that price is just amazing. People have to understand and respect that it's just a price point no one ever thought could happen, bringing something that amazing down, because the actuators that are in the hands, okay, and the amount of weight that this thing could lift up was never done before. When Tesla first started with this a couple years back, they were breaking these actuators because they weren't designed really to do this weights that it was designed for, okay? So that's why Tesla made a lot of these on their own, was because they really had nowhere to go to source it. And they wanted to be more human-like. So the hands changed. If you look at the early version of the Optimus to now, the wrist and the fingers articulate differently, much, much more human-like. The human hand isn't robotic at all. The way it's designed, it is much anti-human. Okay, if you were to design a robot, you would never design it like a hand, because it's so hard to replicate, and you can do so much more just doing block robot type grips. But Tesla wanted that human look, that human feel. So they went the extra distance with that, because if you think about it, when you articulate your fingers, it's actually, that tendon goes all the way through to your forearm. So if you put your finger right here and move, for instance, your ring finger, you'll feel it right here, because the tendon inserts over here by your elbow. Yes, I've got a background in healthcare. So that's something that the robot had to do. Previously, the actuators just operated in the hand, and they weren't able to be that strong. So they changed the actuators to go all the way down to the elbow, and that's how they were able to get more grip strength out of there. So picking up your groceries, picking up something that's 50 pounds isn't causing excess stress on these digits for the humanoid-like robots. So there was a lot of thought that went in there. Now, how long is the battery going to last? How long does it take to charge? If you take it on a trip with you, is there a mobile charger? These are all unknown unknowns, okay? And it's great to see this robot dancing, but it's going to be interesting how it evolves. Because as we know, that first generation robot is going to have a lot of changes. Everyone's going to want it first, but then the second generation is probably going to be the safer bet. Or maybe you get two for your household, a Gen 1 and a Gen 2. We'll see. I don't know. But will the Optimus robot flop? I think you're going to see a lot of businesses using this. And I don't mean just factories and assembly lines. I mean small businesses who do basic tasks on a repetitive basis, basically, where they're hiring someone for, fairly minimum wage to do things that, could easily be duplicated by a robot. Again, if you have an elder person in your home or living alone, I think you're going to find that there. Maybe to work with the family and the family dog and everything else. Maybe the robot takes the family dog out for a walk. I don't know. But for it to be a part of an everyday family, I think it's going to take a little bit more adoption. As much as people like it, you're going to see the rich people all buying one, but are they going to use it? Are they going to take the time to program it? These are all things I want you to think of while the stock price is going up from all this excitement over Optimus, that there might be some retracement. This isn't stock or investing information or advice. Just simply telling you there's a wow factor, and then just like anything else, you get that wow factor and you take it home and you play with it for a while and it's not as wow anymore. There's one exception to that wow factor, and you know what it is. It's when you buy a Tesla car or a truck, because it doesn't matter how long you've owned that vehicle. My wife's owned her Model 3 6 years. I've owned my Cybertruck a year. There's still a wow factor in that thing. So who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the wow factor for Optimus will be there forever. Only time will decide, and time will tell us. Thank you for joining me today. We've got a couple products coming in, just a little teaser. We've got a refrigerator coming in for our Cybertruck between the front two seats. We also on Friday have our spoiler package coming in from Cybertruckco.com. Cybertruckco.com. They've got a spoiler. They've got really cool stuff they're adding on to the truck, making it hipper and sportier. We also have a large rack coming in. So we got some other things coming in this week. I'll be busy assembling things. And then Monday, next Monday, is our service appointment to get our Cyberbeast bar installed. We're gonna have a couple videos on that. We're gonna show you this, all its difference between the OEM Cyberbeast bar and the aftermarket ones. We're gonna do some videos, content about the service center. And I'm gonna have a loaner car, and I hope it's a Model X, and we'll do a test drive and we'll just shoot some video in the Model X. I can't wait, because I've driven the 3, I've driven the Y, I wanna drive that X. Anyway, thank you for joining me today, but one thing that you have to do every single time, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you again tomorrow.